Welcome to the Spearo Hangout, where we talk all things spearfishing, freediving and foraging. We're three guys from Devon in the UK who are excited to share some of the learnings from our spearfishing journey with you over the coming episodes. We bring in some special guests along the way to help spread some in-depth Spearo knowledge from some of the most experienced people in the scene. Hey guys, how are you?
Yo, how's it going?
Evening.
Lovely to see you guys. It's been a little while.
Yeah, everything's busy, isn't it? And I think I remember us saying last time that we're going to try and upload regularly, but yeah, it's been far too busy and interesting. But a lot's happened. A lot's happened since we last spoke. Anyway.
Yeah, we've actually managed to get out. We had a little bit of a weather window, which is pretty rare this year, didn't we?
Oh, we had the whole of the English summer in 1 week, didn't we?
Yeah, basically. I think we made the most of it, though.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I'm still waiting for my £100 from Anthony. What about you, Ben?
Oh, that was the Dorset Open, right?
Don't know what you're on about.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't know what you're on about. Don't know what you're on about. No, I went diving instead of doing the Dorset Open. I went diving with Mr. Talk a Lot. Sorry, Tony Sykes. Hi, Tony.
Did you catch anything? What was your?
What did we do? We're gonna have to come back to that.
Shot a massive conger, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I did shoot a massive conger.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's in the freezer. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to remember while you tell me about the Dorset Open. How did that go?
Okay.
I honestly can't remember.
Well, how did it go? We arrived at 7 o'clock with the boat, me and Damon, and Rich and Dan were trying to get into the water at Weymouth Harbour, and the boat didn't start, did it, Rich?
No, so luckily our
whose boat? Yours?
No, mine was fine.
No, it was Dan was having some engine troubles, but yeah, typical boats. So luckily our saviour turned up. And we all jumped in Ben's boat.
Oh, nice.
Which actually was really nice, and in a way I was actually quite grateful, because I know that Dan is like a spearfishing god in my eyes, so he knows all the nice places to go, and he's got all the good advice. And we ended up, I don't know how far we should go into spots, but what can we say? I don't know.
You ended up in an area.
We ended up on some very cool structure, should we say, with some history attached to it. I don't know. And anyway, it's like some cool metal structures that we could dive down. It's about like 11, 12 meters. And it was some of the coolest diving I've ever done. It was like a bit like an oil riggy type structure. And there was no fish there, which was pretty frustrating.
Actually, there was fish there, because remember when you guys came off it, Dan Newman went over to it and pulled out a nice pollock.
He did get a nice pollock. Yeah, I was kicking myself because it was really cool diving there, but I was thinking, I need to get a fish now. You know, this is a competition. It's not just a free diving day. So I went to try and find some mullet that you were bashing a little bit further down the down the shore. I didn't find any, as is typical.
Yeah.
How did you both get on?
You had a couple of mullet from there, didn't you?
I 3 mullet from there. Yeah, 3 mullet. And then I think I landed up with 3 mullet, 1 pollock, and a bass. Nice. For the competition.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Ben
and I we headed away from there, and so I've been getting into I've got the fish finder on the boat, and it's linked up to Navionics, and on there there's a bit of a pinnacle that I'd been looking at and had marked as somewhere I'd want to go at some point. So I said, "Oh, lads, do you fancy jumping in here? Like I've had this bit marked for a little while. It'd be really cool just to see what's down there." And I jumped in first, and it was the most awesome start to a dive I've ever had. There were big pollock, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 centimeter pollock, like all around, and I just wasn't ready for it because the viz wasn't amazing. It was like 3 or 4 meters, and I was just like, oh my god, like I need to get the gun out, and I don't know. Just got a bit overwhelmed with the excitement, missed a shot, scared away all the fish.
There were still a few hanging around there.
But there were a few hanging around. The biggest ones decided to go elsewhere, but we managed to get a couple in the boat, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, a couple that I saw there was surprising the size of the pollock, really, especially for Dorset. But yeah, that was a great spot, man. We definitely got to go back there. I've got I've got some making up to do on that. I got some, I got a vendetta to do with the pollock on that spot.
You and me both, mate. You and me both.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it was a good day. Damien came third. I came joint fourth. Dave Stevens won, obviously.
That guy uses aim hacks.
No, it was a great day and it was a great event, really. So we're going to try and make next year even bigger and better. So just onwards and upwards. But and then cool. we had a really cool dive all together, didn't we?
Day out.
Yeah, that was an epic day, man. That was one of those days where actually it's not about the fish, it was just about the day. And it was just such a nice day just to be out with you lads on the water. It was insane.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I really enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome day.
I caught my first triggerfish.
Yeah, man. That was so good.
It was cool. I got again. Just got a little bit excited when I saw the first one down there, and it was at least twice as big as the one that I actually got, as a typical. I sound a bit like Anthony sometimes, don't I? So I shot this thing that was huge, and I missed it again, and that was like my first dive down there, and it was the first triggerfish I'd ever seen. I thought I'm never going to see that again. It's going to be years before I see another triggerfish. Anyway, luckily, I did another dive and found one and shot one. So that was a pretty exciting moment.
Nice.
That was awesome, man. I couldn't believe when you came up with that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was
cool.
And
only because we haven't discussed it since. Like, I obviously I don't want to know the spot, but at what point during the day did you catch it? And then the second follow-up question is what kind of terrain did you see it on? How was it? How did they come about? Were they in kelp and rocks? What?
So like a rocky kind of structure, and we've seen some videos on YouTube of people pulling them out of rocks. And actually, Rich, you found like the hole that they went into.
I found them afterwards. Yeah. Go on.
I was going to say, so like basically a rocky structure with cracks in it that have holes that they can go into. And the one I shot actually did try and hole up with the spear inside it. So I've now got to replace all my mono on my gun, unfortunately. But
that's another conversation that we'll have to have at some point. Is the or at least somebody with some experience with it, is the difference between having a mono with a bungee or spear direct to Dyneema on like say reel. Dan Mann just did a video recently about making sure that your spear hole isn't sharp and doesn't abrade your mono. But I hear a lot of different sort of opinions on whether you should use mono with a bungee or just go straight to your Dyneema.
Yeah, any of our listeners have any advice? Let us know. None of us know anything. So.
After you came up with that trigger, I dived. And obviously, as you said, I found them.
Yeah,
but I found the sort of it was like a tiny, a split between the rocks, which I would never been able to get a spear gun into in the first place. And then on the left hand side of that was a hole in the rock which they were in, and I literally put my head in there and I saw them in the back, and I was like, how am I meant to shoot them? I can't get there. I can't put the spear gun in there. It just won't physically fit.
I know where you were. Yeah, no, I do know where you were. No, fair enough. No, yeah,
so
cool. I didn't realize they were
there. I couldn't get the spear gun in there, and I was like, if they weren't so well known for biting extremely hard, I'd actually put my hand in there and just grab it. But I couldn't put the spear gun in there. It's physically impossible. But yeah, it's really cool, man. I was super stoked for you anyway, dude. So
thanks, awesome. Mate. Yeah, proper excited, and it does add one to my species comp.
You are beating us this year in the species comp.
We'll talk about that in a minute, shall we?
What species comp?
But yeah, we had it. let's come back to it, because I thought it'd be nice to do like a 5-minute section on that. Just but yeah, great cook up on the beach as well. That went really well. Scallops and pollock and mullet.
So we, as they've just said, we took out 2 boats. So we both launched from Teignmouth. I got there probably 10:15, I think. ish, something like that. No, 10:30 ish. Anyway, it's like 15 minutes after Ben, and we get there. My boat's still on the trailer. Ben's boat's in the water. Damon's holding it. Ben's walking around, a bit flustering and panicking in still full clothes, not ready. We then launch the boat. I'm sat in the boat. We're ready to go. I've parked the car up. Ben's still not in his boat. So then we went over to the first spot, and Viz was. You guys didn't even get in, did you?
It was just not worth it. You couldn't see the end of your spit. Well, no, I did get in actually, and I couldn't see the end of my fins, and it was just like.
Oh, you hit your head, didn't you?
I literally hit my head on the floor.
On the bottom.
Luckily, landed on some muddy, sandy patch that I didn't know was there. But
that's not the first time you've done that.
No, it's not. I do have a habit of doing that.
When you and again on that, do you look straight ahead or do you look down while you're diving?
Oh, a bit of both, mate. So what they do say is that it's better to be for your like streamlining and for your like to go directly down if you're looking kind of ahead and up, so you can actually see the sea. I was trying to practice that, which maybe bumped my head. So it was a stupid idea.
So we got in there. Taj got a mullet, pretty decent sized mullet. Within the first couple of dives, and then I got in, realized the viz was really quite bad and saw none of the usual bass that were there. So we got back in. We went then straight. You guys had already left, went sort of around the shore.
Yeah, we didn't go very far actually. I thought you were going to join us because we found a really cool ledge, and it was actually quite fishy. Again, like really enjoying the.
Was the viz any better there?
Oh, loads better. It must have been weird, like 6 meters, something like that. And we'd only travelled, I don't know, 200 meters, like if that, just the other side of the bay. So it's amazing how quickly it does change.
Well, we then went straight over to a deeper spot on a wreck that's been discussed previously. So I'm not going to mention any names because CVA. But got there. There was 2 boats there, rod and lining, and spoke to them, and they said they'd had no fish. And so we sort of anchored up to. It was all potted. There was loads of buoys around, so we sort of thought it was maybe nets, but no, it was pots. And just so many pollock diving in about 14 to 17, 18 meters. And we brought out 11 fat pollock, all £5 plus. One of the ones that Taj shot was anchovy, but it was still legal pollock. And then we went over to Torbay area to a good spot for scallops. Grabbed 25 each for me and Taj. And then went and found you guys, got on the beach and had an amazing cook up, and you did I need to get that recipe from you for the sauce, the sesame sauce you did with them.
Oh mate, it's pretty straightforward. Honey, bit of chili.
Don't call me honey.
Soy sauce. Coriander. If you want to offend half the people at the camp.
Damon does not like coriander at all. So, but no,
not as Taj as well. Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, an amazing day. And then we went to another little spot just on the way back in. And
that was beautiful. I've never dived there before, and
it's a very good spot.
Wow, like the separation between the like big rocks and then sand and big rocks and sand
just
and
gullies.
There's just no fish.
Yeah, which is really weird there, especially on the tide that we were on. That's one of the spots that Sugar Daddy has obviously given me, and I don't know a time that we've been there and not caught bass.
Wow.
So it was really weird not to even see them, or mullet, which was odd. There's never pollock there, but bass and mullet, that is a really, really good spot.
Interesting. There's been a lot of bluefin in the bay, hasn't there, recently? I wonder if one of those had come through and scared them all off or something.
And there's loads of dolphins around there as well. So that's another thing, is once they cruise through, the bass disappear.
Yep.
But and I've remembered my Tony Sykes. So while you were doing,
go on, mate.
Yeah. So you guys did the Dorset Open. Unfortunately, I had a party that night, so I couldn't come because it was driving in the wrong direction, and the party was down in Cornwall anyway. So I was told by the wife, well, maybe wife, she wants to be, that I wasn't allowed. So we
Was
went
this
down.
some news or?
No, God, no,
All right.
not yet. Oh, God, don't even put that in. This will be the one episode that she fucking listens to as well, wouldn't it? Ooh, wife, ooh. Fuck off. So I ended up going down and meeting Tony Sykes somewhere in Cornwall. Gorgeous beach. Quite, I don't want to say groccoli, but quite touristy type beach. A stunning ground and a little harbour. And so we got there. Tony, I got there about 20 minutes before Tony, so I got ready. And then Tony turned up with his new kayak that he then carried on taking an hour to take off of his roof, get ready, and then pull down to the sea. Awesome bit of kit. He's got this, it's got like these fins that like that propel him along.
Propellers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and so what you do? Use your feet like a foot power one, or
yeah. So it's like having bike pedals, but they're attached to
them.
these two little fins that flap back and forth. And so the first thing that we did was try to see if he could pull me along. Now, I'm 6'6", 120 kilos, and built like a barn door. So not very hydrodynamic. And after about 10 minutes, the sweat pouring off of Tony's face was hilarious. So I let go, and yeah, it was just really, really good dive. Got conger, 2 lobsters, 2 decent brown crab, sort of loads of decent spiders, masses of bass, but they were all schooly, 35 to 40. And yeah, I can't remember what Tony caught. Tony got a bass. Again, it was probably only about 42, 45. But
Tony told me he took you to the worst spot that he knows of.
Did he?
Because he didn't want your head getting any bigger if you caught something decent.
I still got 5 times as much as he did. Never mind. Yeah, it was really, really good day. Absolutely stunning conditions.
Nice.
Loads of bass. But the only thing that I'd take away from that spot is the pots. There were so many lobster pots. One, and I'm not joking, one every 8 meters. And none of them had anything in that I saw, but it was just like boy after boy after boy. And yeah, so maybe a good spot for lobster and crab, but they've taken them all. But no, really, really good day.
Interesting. And then we went out this last weekend as well, didn't we, Rich?
Yeah. We were off for Dorset.
How was that?
Oh, it was good.
I didn't get an invite.
Fed a seal.
Did I?
Freaking did.
First time ever.
Well, no, because I know we're going to get it in the net. So I always make a point of inviting you.
You haven't got to. I mean, joking.
But Viz was awesome.
Oh, like, mate, yeah, there was
10 meters.
Insane. Yeah, 10,
cool.
10 meters, I'd say. Yeah, it's lovely. For that spot anyway, it's great.
Yeah.
But
was it the spot that you went to at Dorset that you wanted to go back to?
Yeah.
Oh, right, cool.
No. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was a very well-known spot that there was tons of other Spearos there, like loads of them. Yeah. And it wasn't very fishy, but I was so chuffed myself because I got in before Ben, and I went out to some deeper areas, and I was so chuffed because I was diving down sort of relatively deeper and into some caves, and I saw this bass, and it was a nice bass as well. I managed to get it, stoned it, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome, right?" Coming up with it, I could see the fish on the end of the spear. I'm coming up, and all of a sudden, the seal just comes along, and I'm playing tug of war with the seal. And obviously he wins.
Oh, Christ.
So, and then he proceeds to eat my fish in front of me. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, you were not happy, were you? I met him in the sea. He just swam straight past me, mate. He did not want to talk to anybody.
Well, this seal followed me around for so long afterwards, right?
I could tell how pissed off you were.
I was getting so annoyed. I was like, honestly, like, I love wildlife, but fuck off already.
So I suppose there's a question that comes out of that I think we discussed anyway in messages. But if you've shot a bass and then a seal takes it. Does it count as your 2 a day?
No,
I'm going to go with no.
I think you've got to land it, haven't you, technically?
Yeah.
Like, if that was a serious question, I don't know if it was.
There's
probably a punchline coming, knowing you.
No. That's a serious question, because you're only allowed to catch 2 bass a day. But does shooting that bass and then not landing it count as a catch?
Well,
because you didn't land it.
No, but guess what? I didn't see any other bass like that size anymore anyway. So
that's because the seal was following you and going ahead.
No, I did see one mega size bass in a hole, but I just wasn't ready for it. I don't think I'm very good at hole hunting. I think that's something that I need to focus on in the new season, because let's face it, this season's over. But
it's definitely a different style.
Changed. It's not over. Now it's scallop season.
True, mate.
It's definitely a different, like, complete different hunting style. That
because I think I got better, like, because that was basically all we were doing, wasn't it, for a couple of hours, and I got better throughout it. But like my first dive, I had a torch in one hand and my gun in the other, and then I think I was weighted for about 8 or 9 meters, and it was about 10. So I hit the bottom, like with a bit of a thud, and then my gun's dragging on the floor, making loads of noise. Like, there's no way any fish are going to come anywhere near me. Like, I'd been gone in a second. But I felt like we were getting better towards the end, and I did shoot pout actually out of a hole. Which
that was decent pout,
nice size one. Pretty tasty actually. So I was pretty happy with that one. It's another one for the species list, which I haven't added to our spreadsheet. So the viewers, listeners, whichever we decide to do with this episode, may remember that about 10 episodes ago, at the start of the season, we put together a species comp, and we had a few rules. And the idea is basically it's just the number of fish that we can get, number of different species, one of each, and I'm winning. And I can't remember what we said we were going to do. Was it just for the glory, or are you guys going to cough up some money or something?
Where is this comp?
It's in the Google Drive.
It's in the Google Drive. I'm pretty sure it was just for the glory, the bragging rights.
Okay. Well, I'll take it.
I need to put my conger on there.
Yeah, you can put conger on there. I'm going to put my pouting in there.
I haven't even updated mine yet on that. Well,
oh, maybe I'm not winning then. I thought I was.
Well, you will be, but I haven't updated mine, to be honest. So,
and you're on 8, and I'm on 12. So,
see, I've got bass, but I don't know what day it was.
I'll just put it. I think we've all got bass. That's pretty. That's fine. And Rich, I've seen you catch a pollock, so you can have that one.
Catch a pollock.
What's the end date? This could get a little bit heated towards the end of the year, I guess.
31st of December.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll write it down.
In other news,
I've
ordered myself a polo subsuit, and I
have you?
Nice.
Full. So, Forza tray.
Yeah.
So smooth outer, lined in the middle, sandwich thing, and then open sew in the middle, in the inside. Getting Rachel to take my measurements was quite funny. So to order a polo subsuit, if nobody's done it before, I don't know whether it's akin or similar to getting a properly fitted suit in person, like a wedding type suit. But there's 18 measurements that needs to be taken.
Oh, wow.
Like, neck size, forehead size. So mine was like huge, obviously. Because the size of my head. Like from the top of your, obviously it's all the measurements for a suit. So inside arm, everything. So I've ordered it completely custom. So I got Forza tray, 5.5 mil, top and bottom, double chest protection. So inside pad and outer pad. And then I've got the arm and elbow and knee pads with stitching so that they're super wear resistant. With pisset. It's going to be my first time ever having a pisset.
But the question is, did you lie about the measurements for the pisset?
Yes, 100%. There's going to be another arm tube down there that's going to be completely unusable. But the only other thing that's good with the smooth skin, so with all suits that I've ever had, I've always had a problem with my dive watch, in that you put your suit on, then put your watch on, and then the suit pushes against the watch and like pushes it into your wrist, because I wear it actually on my skin to keep my heart rate and stuff. And so I've ordered the Forza tray to have a shorter.
Hang on.
Oh, huh?
What? You wear your watch on your skin on the top?
No.
How do you look at it?
Because it's on my wrist.
Huh? But you've got your glove on your wrist, right?
Yeah, no, but the glove can sit, like I can put the glove over the top of it if I'm going hole hunting.
Right.
But most of the time my glove just sort of, it's a gardening glove, so it's quite loose and it just sits in front of it. But because of how the normal suits like this 7mm are quite stiff, they're always wanting to slide down and be to their full extent.
Yeah.
It pushes against the watch and pushes it into my wrist.
With you, I didn't even think about wearing it underneath my suit. Yeah,
so I've got the Garmin Descent Mark II, and Taj has copied me as well. But then again, I did copy him with my Mr. Carbon, so we're fair now. But the Descent Mark II has got a good feature in it that if your heart rate goes below 40 and you're in dive, it will trigger an emergency response. So it can then send a message to your text emergency responses and tell them that there's a problem, and with your GPS location, which is the whole reason that I got the watch.
Below 40, that doesn't sound very. Obviously, you can change that.
Yeah, you can change it. I've set it to 40 because like while I'm diving, my heart rate usually is anyway. It depends on whether I'm really relaxed, but it's between 60 and say 100. If I'm not relaxed, my heart rate's at 100, like if I've been doing something on the boat.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
But then, like normally, if I'm properly relaxed, it's like 60 to 65. So if it goes under 40, it will ping a message to Rachel, my mother, and then I've set the RNLI onto it, and saying, I can't remember what the wording is, but it's something like emergency. Anthony has a problem. His heart rate's just gone below 40. Here is his last known GPS location.
Wow, that's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah, that's the whole reason I bought the watch. At least I think that's how it works, because that's how I set it up.
That's the reason that's how you persuaded Rachel.
You justified it, yeah.
Yeah.
This is where Garmin are going to come in and go, that's not a feature on our watch. We would love to have that, but it's not physically
there's a
possible.
There's a feature in it when your heart rate goes below 40, it like shoots out a buoyancy aid that makes you float to the top of the surface.
Like a James Bond watch.
Yeah.
Well, Garmin, if that is not a feature on the watch and it soon becomes a feature on the watch, I would like some form of royalty, please. Because Rachel is going to absolutely kill me, so I need money to pay rent somewhere. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I've got a shorter left sleeve. That was the whole thing from that, is I've ordered on my nice custom polo sub my shorter left sleeve.
That's why you ordered a short. I didn't know if like one of your arms was just a little bit wonky or something.
And a shorter middle sleeve.
But, and again, from all those measurements, one thing that I did find out was that my body is completely not symmetrical whatsoever. And the reason why I end up, and I'm going to blame this on that reason, the reason why I swim into you two quite often is because my right leg is considerably bigger muscle-wise than my left leg. So I'm swimming around in circles because my finning power is stronger in my right leg, so it kicks me right or left. So yeah, I'm going to blame that instead of me trying to find your fish.
So your custom wetsuit is going to have a bigger right leg than left leg?
It's not drastic. It's like a centimeter. I'm a centimeter and a half.
But is that precise though? Like,
oh god, yeah. This is measured in millimeters.
Amazing.
While we're on the subject of Anthony swimming into our spaces, this is an actual thing that I do when I go spearfishing with Anthony, and I literally let him just power ahead and go out there and like get as far as fucking way as possible from him, because every time I look up, Anthony's right in front of me.
It's not my fault. I have a deformation in my body.
Like, you do like to cross over in front of us, mate. That is
like
true.
Hugging me, basically. And I'm like, what the fuck's he doing in my face?
It's how I imagine you drive on a motorway, basically just like keeping all the cars behind you.
Yeah. I'm
So
doing
I'm gonna
the
find all the
scouting.
fish in
Yeah.
front of these two before they find any.
Oh, sorry.
It's an endearing feature, one of many.
Endearing and annoying. What? Yeah. But no, very much looking forward to it. And before I even put the order in, I phoned Polo Sub in Italy to ask them if that was the thing that I could do. And luckily, I can't remember the chap's name, but he was the guy that was in the owner of Polo Sub. Answered the phone, which was quite cool. And
in Italian.
So no, he just answered saying Polo Sub. I don't know whether that is Italian or but and then
you said, "Oh, it's Anthony from the Spearo Hangout." He's like, "Oh yeah, I
know." Yeah, I spent 10 minutes reeling off all of my list of accolades before he then got bored and hung up. But no, I'm looking forward to it. But it's just the lead time on them. They are extremely busy, and all I've heard is really good things. I spoke to Arian, very friendly Scottish Spearo, and he couldn't rate them high enough. And supposedly they're like wearing another skin, so I'm looking forward to having a really decent
nice
wetsuit.
What thickness did you go for?
5.5 mil.
Okay, seems like a good balance.
Yeah. So I think it's because it's lined as well. I was thinking, well, I was always worried with smooth skin going thin in like more easy to tear.
Yeah, definitely.
But with the Forza tray being lined or triple layered and then stitched, you get a bit more leeway. A load of the YouTube videos I watched on it, it's basically said that you've got to want to break it to break it.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as you treat it like a smooth skin.
It's a good job you got a decent wetsuit coming, because you might need it for the place that we might be going, where the next guest lives. And so I reckon we get him on. It's Michael Engel from Denmark, and we haven't had anyone from Denmark on yet, so I'm quite interested to learn about Denmark and what it's all about.
We're starting to get all over Europe. Look forward to it. Let's get Michael on.
Let's do it, man. Hey, welcome, Michael. Welcome to Spearo Hangout Podcast.
Thank you so much, Richard. And Ben and Anthony, I mean, as I just said earlier, we didn't press record yet. And as I mentioned, you three legends. Come on, why do you...
Oh, mate, you are too kind.
Oh, I'm blushing.
Don't
Welcome,
give
Michael.
him any more reason to have a larger head than he does.
Okay, I'll be careful with too many compliments.
Well, we need to find out by the end of this podcast whether I'm allowed in Denmark or not after the podcast. Because Norway, I think when we had Axel on, there was a bit of whether I'm allowed into Norway or not. But
yeah.
I don't think I've offended anyone in Denmark yet.
I don't think so. No,
there's plenty of time for that.
I was going to say we've got the next hour and a half, so
let's wait and see.
So Michael, do you want to kick us off and introduce yourself to all the listeners and let them know who you are, when you start spearfishing, and what you're all about?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm Michael Engel. It's that actually means angel in Danish, so Michael Engel, if you will. I live in Denmark, and I'm actually not sure how many people knows about Denmark. I'm not sure how popular the country is, but just to to clear the picture, it's in Scandinavia, just north of Germany and south of Norway, a little bit to the northeastern of you guys in the UK. And that also speaks to some of the spearfishing, and we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, I live next to the water, and I'm just a really passionate Spearo, and just frothing on the lifestyle, and happy to talk more about what it's all about.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, nice. Was it like fishing in Denmark? Is it like along the lines of, we've obviously spoken to Axel, we were talking about earlier. Is it that kind of like cold water, cod, pollock, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's funny because it's sort of like you have the cold water fish, you have the cold water species, the cod and all the flatties, the pollock. Yes, we got plenty of pollock. The sai, or
Coalfish, yeah.
Coalfish, yeah. But then we also got a lot of sea trout.
Oh, cool.
Which is really nice, and it's one of the most prized fish we have here in Denmark.
Are you allowed to shoot them?
Not in this country.
Yeah.
I was going to say, in the UK, it's a sea trout. I've seen only probably 2 in my short 2 years of spearfishing. The temptation is it's like finger on the trigger going, oh, that looks so nice to eat. And then, no, not allowed.
You can't shoot them.
No, it's illegal in the UK.
What?
They are a banned species. I think it's because of the numbers
because
of them.
No, it's because they migrate.
Oh.
So we're not allowed to shoot any migrating species.
We're not allowed to shoot immigrants.
So salmon or trout are banned.
Yeah, it's because a few years ago we basically not hunted them to extinction, but they used to net a lot of the rivers, which is where they spawn. And basically the numbers are just like nothing compared to what they used to be. So now that they're the banned species and you can't fish for them in the sea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. And that is in general, it's not just spearfishing.
Yeah, I think so.
Because in Norway, it's just spearfishing, the way I understood it, which is super weird. So in Norway,
so you can't catch them on rod and line?
You can, yeah, but with spear gun, then it's you can't.
Yeah, I don't think there's any I don't think there's any like spearfishing specific rules in the UK that I'm aware of.
No, only the whole night diving stuff from the EU regulations.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that actually also ties very much into the sea trout, because earlier, that was before I was really into it, it was a big thing in Denmark. That was kind of like, the way you got your crate, the trophy fish, it was go out at night and catch a sea trout, because relatively easily you can get like a 5 kilo sea trout at night.
Oh, wow.
Because they're like lethargic, they're cruising around, and I've seen that. I've tried going on knife dives just with my knife, and then you see like a big sea trout cruising by. And you are like there with your knife and just, okay, I'll just take a flounder and...
No, officer, the sea trout swam into the knife. I don't know what you're on about.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so of course it's tempting, and I see, but luckily I figured out how to catch them during the day as well. So that is possible, but they are so shy. I mean, it's you can compare that to the Dentex hunt in Greece. I would say it's a really, really hard fish to get. Yeah.
And so how long have you been spearfishing?
It's 3 years now. I was counting here before, so relatively short time span. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh, nice. So I'm but was just going after it hard when I mean, I've always been doing water stuff, sailing, and when I was a kid, they couldn't get me out of the water. I was snorkeling, and at some point, I was living in what's called like a shared home communion. What do you call that? Like kind of, we were some people sharing a house in Aarhus, the second largest city here in Denmark. And one of my buddies was like, "Hey, you want to go spearfishing?" And I just know exactly, yes, of course I want to. I heard about it a while back, and like, yes, let's go. And we went out, and I got a nice little the flounder, and we grilled it on the beach, and I was just hooked. Like this, being able to go out there in the water and have this experience and bring it back and continue the experience with the fish, and we had some of our friends with us, and I mean, it was just. That really got me that moment, and it didn't take long, and I had all the gear. Like I went out and bought everything. So
as you do,
yeah. But
nice. So what's the ground like out there? Because when we spoke to Axel, the big kelp, big pollock, obviously cold water. Because you're slightly more south than Norway, is it still as cold? What's your normal dive look like?
It's not. I would say. I think actually most of it is more comparable. Well, it depends on where you are in the country. Some of it reminds of Norway, and some of it actually looks like what you have in the UK. We do have a lot of kelp, but we also have just a lot of like sandy bottoms where we have vast amounts of flatties. So you have the Baltic Sea on the eastern side, which is more less salinity, more brackish, right?
Mm.
And then you have the North Sea, the Atlantic on the left, and then in the middle you have like the inner waters of Denmark, which is a little bit more protected, you could say. And those grounds are really good for the flatfish, and species like the flounder really they like actually a little bit more brackish waters as well, not that salty.
Yeah,
nice.
And so it really depends where you're going. I would say for a lot of people it's about the flatfish today. And
do you
we
get
got
halibut?
Unfortunately not. No.
Oh.
Yeah, no. But if you go out, I mean, if we were to go out here, and I live at a place called Djursland. I mean, you could easily find a handful of flounders someplace. You would maybe find a dab, the sole. Typically at night, you can get like 2 or 3 sole, and in the spring, turbot, brill.
Quite very similar to the UK in terms of like species and sort of terrain. I think watching your videos, it does remind me a lot of the UK actually. The style of hunting you're doing is very similar to what we do as well.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I think, and especially with the pelagics, also. I mean, I think when I started spearfishing, it was a lot about the flatfish in the beginning, and then quickly I was just like, I need to get a sea trout. Like, I need to go for the highest one. I need the sea trout. And after that, when I conquered that, I just went for all the pelagics, and luckily we have still a reasonably healthy population of cod, depending on where you go. It's been hammered a lot. So when you talk with the more senior spearfishermen, they are sort of like, I don't even want to go out there because where are the fish, right? But for me as a newbie, I don't have that. I have a new baseline, right?
Yeah.
Which is also a problem. but
recently you speared a bonito, as well, right?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I mean, it looked like you were actually going to hunt for them specifically. How does that work?
So that was quite interesting. I think some years back I heard about was like a net fisherman who caught a bunch of bonito, and in the spearfishing community, some guys were talking about, okay, the bonitos, they're coming here each summer now. We've got the bluefin tuna coming back, right?
Yeah,
and
same, yeah.
Back in the 60s, it was a big thing in Denmark. You went to Denmark and you were catching tunas. Now they're back. Now we get bonito, like the small. I would actually more call it a mackerel, to be honest, but
big mackerel.
Yeah, big mackerel, small tuna. But apparently now they've been visiting us every year now, and we were going. I've been talking with my buddy Stefan. He's my main dive buddy. He's like my mentor. That also speaks to one of the reasons why I grew so fast, is because I was really eager in the beginning, and Stefan saw that and kind of took me under his wings. And he's one of the, I would say, top 5 spearfishermen in Denmark. He got number 3 at the nationals, and but I've been talking with him a lot about, okay, I want to be the first to get a bonito. Like, I know it's ridiculous. Why? Come on.
Why not?
It's not a competition, but it is a competition.
Of course it is.
Everything in spearfishing is a competition.
Everything in life is a competition.
But at the same time, we also supposed to be, these, I don't know, these hippies enjoying the water and
selective fishermen.
Yeah, which is vegans that love to shoot fish.
Exactly, something like that.
Absolutely fucking not. Don't ever call me a vegan. Prick. One of the things really quite a sad thing that I've probably never mentioned on this is that I'm an absolute closet geek. And sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent before I ask the question.
Yeah.
So I play a game online called EVE Online, and it's flying spaceships and shit. It's really, really sad. But I play with people all over the world, and in the alliance that I'm in, quite a few of the guys are from Denmark. And I speak to them we're on Discord, most nights that I'm on. And the one place that they said, because they know about spearfishing, and they've heard quite a lot about the spearfishers in Denmark, which I didn't realize how big the scene was there. But is it Skaven?
Yeah, Skane.
Is it Skane or Skaven?
Yeah. Is it like Skagen?
No, Skaerven. Skaven. There's a beach with then a bridge that goes over to Star.
You're giving out spots on the podcast, Ant.
No, it's not spots. It's just they were saying that that's one place that they've always seen Spearos getting in and out, and it's a massive bridge that goes from.
It's banned from Denmark.
Yeah, it didn't take him long, did it?
It's okay.
But it is, and sort of leading on to the question, with looking at the spearfishing in Denmark, you've got so many little islands and places where you'd expect the fish to congregate, is sort of all like pinnacles effectively. Are the currents like quite hard out there, or is it easy fishing?
So I could see why the inner almost like islands everywhere looks super tasty for spearfishing. If you want flatfish there, yes.
Right.
Unfortunately, when you go there and you swim out, there's nothing. It's just sand and sadness.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, what we do is we go to shipwrecks, basically.
Right.
So I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, between some of the bridges, it's true that we have like some amazing bridges with great pillars where you can dive and find a cod and some of the pollock and coalfish. But beyond those like structures that we put out there, there's not really much going on. And I think it's a mixture of things why that's the case, but it's also a more calm sea. Once you go to the other side, the Atlantic side, it's much more, the waters are much more healthy. The
more
water
open.
is exchanged all the time, and it's not as affected from like pollution and everything. Whereas in the smaller seas, it's taken a big toll on the fishery that or the fishing populations that we've decided in Denmark to have a lot of farming, right? And that's one reason in many. Of course, there's many reasons why the fishing is down, but definitely we've decided to use our waters and our country to produce stuff and to harvest stuff. So unfortunately, it's not that interesting to go about and find spearfishing around in the inner waters. I would wish so, but it's not really. No.
Well, I'll try and get some more spots out of my little geeky gaming friends, and I'll message you.
Yeah, do that. But actually, if it's a bridge you're talking about, I don't know if you've seen the Daniel Mann video where he's in Denmark and he's talking about it's not always easy to catch a cod.
Yeah.
That's like still a good spot, and that's at the Great Belt Bridge in a city called Nyborg. It's not a secret spot. That actually translates to Newcastle, so that's easy for you guys to
easy to remember.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the whole like secretive don't show your spots kind of mentality?
Yeah, for sure.
That's around the world, man.
Yeah, so that's why I just got hushed up, because it's actually a really good spot.
Yeah.
No, what's the visibility like there on like typically? Just in general in Denmark. I mean,
it's not that good. We have a lot of algae. I would say. I'm thinking it's good if it's around 4 or 5 meters. Then it's like it's pretty good.
Yeah. Nice, similar to here.
But again, sometimes, like especially actually on the West Coast, you hit the right day, you can have crystal clear water.
Yeah.
I've tried like 20 meters visibility, and it's just, I mean, we have those days as well here in Denmark, and we can have some amazing spearfishing.
Yeah.
Is the land? I know that it sounds like a geography podcast more than anything, but in the UK down here we've got Devon, which is quite a lot of red rock, and sort of a silty rock. So as soon as it rains, just the viz around us just turns into chocolate milk. But then you go an hour down to Cornwall, and because all the ground down there is granite, even if they get bad viz, it clears up really quickly. What's the sort of the terrain like with you?
I think it's different places. I think we have a lot of was it calc? Is it silt? No, calc, like the white stuff you paint.
Chalk.
Chalk. Yeah. So we have that. We have quite a few rocks.
So your bad viz goes milky.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Nice. Kind of like Dover would be, I would expect.
Well, nice. What's the community like in Denmark? Is there quite a large spearfishing community?
I think I actually just looked it up because I saw you like you talked about that earlier, and I think some of the Facebook groups is like 8,000, 12,000 members.
Whoa!
And that's for like different regions. So, and I also heard a number earlier. Can't remember where I heard it. Where they said it was at least like 10,000 active spearfishermen.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So it is quite big, and it's also, if you see in the competitive scene, Denmark has been active for a long time. There's been held nationals, I believe, down to the 60s. And with Norway and Finland, that community has been really healthy for a long time, called the Nordic spearfishing scene. It still is. I hope to go to the Norwegian or the Nordic championship next year. I've been invited for the selection competition, so looking forward and hoping I'll be a part of that team. Yeah, so it is a healthy community, and that's also what's helping keeping the froth up on everybody, because there's a lot to talk about and a lot of people to meet and build relationships with. Yeah,
definitely.
Nice.
Can we go back to the Bonito a little bit?
Yeah,
I don't think we finished that story.
My fault.
I'm a bit of a bit of a species. I really like hunting lots of different species, and I've never even seen a Bonito. I wouldn't know where to look, how to find one, whatever. But we do see quite a few reports of them, even like locally to us. So how do you go about finding and spearing a Bonito?
Okay, so rewind. We go from my buddy Stefan, and we were talking about, okay, I need to be the first getting a Bonito. This was what got us out of hand, right? This competitiveness, and I've been talking about this a lot. And then 3 weeks ago, we were going to Norway. We were going to, I would say, probably one of the best places in the world for spearfishing. It's Saltstraumen, the strongest tidal current in the world. We can talk a little about that after.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were going there, and in the car on the way to Copenhagen, my buddy goes, okay, there's just been put out a video. They have Bonanza in Aarhus right now of Bonitos. Like insane. And I watched the video, and it was a rod fisherman, and he was just throwing out his fly, and you could see the Bonitos in the water just in front of him.
Oh wow.
And I knew exactly where he was, but I also knew exactly that I was in a car on the way to Norway. Most amazing spot in the world, but I had Bonitos in my backyard, so it was bugging me a lot.
Yeah.
He was teasing me all the time because he was like, do you want to go home? Like, but I was kind of like, okay, well, maybe the other spear fishermen won't really get it, or I was like trying to calm myself down. Hopefully the Bonitos will be there once I get back. So we go to Norway and have some amazing diving. Wow. But 2 days in, then we see the the um, uh, the chairman of our club here in our club. It's called the Sea Otter because it's located in a city called Otter, and he posted a picture of a bonito, and then I was like, "Fuck, I'm not gonna get the first one, but I'm definitely gonna get one. That's fine." And this is also a part of the story in the video I put out.
Yeah.
Decided to capture a little bit of that while we were in Norway, to add a little bit of that history to it. And so apparently, once we got back home, and this is after 7 days in the world's strongest tidal current, completely bashed, like from tip to toe, you're done. You actually need vacation after this vacation, right? But I decide to go the next morning. I go out for spearfishing 7 hours to get a bonito. And so there's like a power plant in Aarhus where they have they take in water for cooling and let out the cooling water. So there's like a channel where the fish can get in and be nice and warm, and out from the end this goes like a stream of this hot water. So basically, I wouldn't call it cheating because I really had to work for it, but these fish, they are screwed because they came here because of the summer, right? And they should be returning now. I mean, now it's getting colder, the water's getting colder, but now this hot stream is coming out. So they sort of like bunched up. There's also been a lot of catches of bonito like randomly across the country, but at this spot you could catch them. They were there and they weren't going anywhere, right?
And they're huge because they're only slightly full of nuclear radiation.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not. It's not a nuclear. We don't have that.
Sorry, uranium. It's fine. They just glow green at night.
I think it's forest burning. It's what's going on.
Oh, right.
Right. Okay.
I'm not sure. They call it something bio or something to make it sound nice.
They should burn vegans.
So I
Feed
hope
it the vegans.
It looks healthy there, and I don't think. I think it's all right to they don't have any warnings. Don't go in the water or anything like that. And fishing and spearfishing is
nice.
completely fine. But it was an interesting dive, and it was in that Sunday I was in the water twice because the first time nothing really happened, and I noticed also it was like the low tide and midday, and like maybe later tonight. So I returned and got a few dives, and all of a sudden, after a good dive, I see this shoal, but I've already been on the bottom for 2 minutes, and I wanted to return at this point, and I think I gave it a Hail Mary, and unfortunately I didn't catch the fish. But of course, next morning, what do? I go out, jump in the water, first or second dive, a bonito presents itself, and yeah, I just got it. It was like a moment of bliss. I got my bonito,
magic.
and
yeah, awesome, man. That's bloody awesome.
Yeah.
I've seen one bonito in the water, and I can really appreciate how hard it must have been to get it because they're so fast.
Incredibly fast.
That was one thing that blew me away because I was on the bottom and I was grunting, and I saw this like sort of rugby ball shaped fish come flying at the top of the surface of the water towards my direction, but at a rapid speed. And they just stopped above me, and then I put the spear gun up towards it, and it just took off. And I couldn't believe how fast it was. And then obviously afterwards, I realised it was a bonito.
Oh, mate, you must have been absolutely gutted. I don't remember that story.
It would have been a record-breaking mackerel otherwise.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it was like, yeah, and that was the only one I was seeing. But I was talking because I won't say who. He might not appreciate me saying, but someone in our club saw a shoal of bonito locally to us.
Oh wow!
Recently, and he was saying the same thing, just how fast they are, just such incredible speed. So yeah, I can really appreciate how hard it must have been to actually shoot it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, it looked a good size as well, actually.
It's like a half meter fish.
What did it weigh? Do you know?
1.5.
But tons.
Nice one.
Yeah. Kilos. The same size as a fish called little tunny or cubrita. It's the same kind of family, a bit more related to the tuna.
And they're what they use for canned tuna, I believe, isn't it? That's what bonito and albacore.
Yeah, I think this one is also
albacore,
called false albacore. This one I caught one in Gozo, Malta, when I was there first. It and that came flying in, and I just had good reflex and just immediately pulled the trigger and got it. So I think that was also quite of the fire for me to catch a bonito back home, is because I caught its cousin when I was in the Med for the first time. So I think that was also like a part of that, and to re-experience that back in my backyard. That was
nice.
Yeah.
So the question that everybody wants to know is, how many people have now shot a bonito in Denmark?
There's been a few more now. I think I decided to while it was a hot news, I decided I'm gonna edit this video, put it out there.
Yeah.
And I think I inspired a few more lads to go out and get a bonito. And I think
that's awesome, man.
That's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, man. That's awesome. And
so go on, Rich. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because obviously you're talking about the Med there, and obviously everything else. But you've been spearfishing quite a few places. Considering the amount of time you've been spearfishing, you've travelled a hell of a lot to spearfish.
Yeah.
So obviously recently you went to Norway, and you've been to Greece, and where else? At Malta as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, Greece and Malta a couple of times. I've been at Madeira.
Oh, nice.
Off of Portugal. Yeah. I've been traveling quite a lot, and I think it's also due to the guys I spearfish with. They are absolute frothers, and we just spend whatever vacation we have to go out, and we do that at least like twice a year. So, and also planning another trip next year. We're already planning the next ones, and I think it's a really nice thing to be traveling with spearfishing. It's you learn so much from doing that. I think that's one of the best ways to learn. Obviously, the first one is to spearfish with someone that's better than you.
Yeah.
And I also told Stefan that we'll switch places in a bit, and he can try it as well. So
that's why we spearfish with Ben, so that we actually learn something.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Hey, mate. We'll talk about this after. We'll skip it for now. We'll talk about
let's have some beef.
So I really enjoyed the video actually that you did about spearfishing off that wreck in Greece. That looked amazing.
Oh yeah.
What sort of depth was that?
The wreck was 20 to 25 meters. Yeah.
And you say you've only been spearfishing 3 years. One of the questions that I've just put down from conversations we've been having so far, it's like, I mean, 3 years is quite a short period to be spearfishing. I've only been spearfishing 2. But you said earlier on that you've got a 2-minute breath hold, and now you're diving to sort of 20, 25 meters comfy. How did you train? How do you sort of do the train for your breath hold? How do you train for depth? I suppose there are 2 questions. The first one we'll just do, how do you train your breath hold?
So I think I've just been when I really got into this, I tend to get like hyper passionate. So I took in all the information I could, and I took some courses. I really got into the what can you say, like the mentality behind having good breath hold, and just starting to practice some of the stuff I learned. And yeah, we can talk a little bit about how to hold breath, but in the end, and you've heard this tons of times, it is the relaxation, and it's the relaxation on the surface, and it's the relaxation on the way down. And when you are down, it's keeping that relaxation, holding it all the way until you return to the surface, and also having that mindset even in the morning before you go out. So it's more like it's a part of you when you go out. I'm out here to enjoy my dives, calm my brain down. Stefan is annoying because he's super energetic in the morning. So he's like, "Come on, let's go. Come on!" Like, calm down, calm. Need this for my breath hold. And I think the breathe up. When I started out spearfishing, I was always like, "Oh, I need to get back down now. Like, I want to dive more." But now that I realized, no, just take the time on the surface. Actually, even if it's foraging for lobster and stuff like that, take the time, enjoy the dive, enjoy the breath, breathe up. I tend to do, some long exhalations first when I lay on the surface. First, I get comfy. I do like 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out or something like that in my breathing, and until I feel like, okay, my heart rate is down, I feel relaxed, then I stop thinking about my breathing. So it's just the almost passive kind of breathing. Don't remember the word for it.
Tidal breathing.
Yes, yeah, you could call it that. Tidal. Yeah, that's true. And then I trust this very much comes from free divers, because I took some free diving lessons. You never hear spearfishermen talk about this, but you find like your happy place, you find a good memory or a moment in time, and you just like
regular activity. I've heard before as well.
Yeah.
Imagine that you're doing a regular activity like getting in your car and all the processes of doing that, or something along those lines that they usually use, don't they? Yeah.
And a funny one is, I have a spot. I was diving one day, and I was just so happy on this dive. And I think it was when I caught my first sea bass. That might be the reason why I remember it that way. But that spot and that feeling I had, and the way I was laying, I use that sometimes. And I've even used that memory while I was spearfishing the same spot. So it's quite funny. But okay, so you get the picture. You stop thinking about your breathing, and then you just find a happy place. Maybe you even just smile. It sounds weird, but just smile a little bit and just be like, okay, am I relaxed? You can scan your body, and then I think this is something I've done more now that I didn't do earlier, and which has helped me even more, is then I do my last full exhalation, and then I do, of course, a big inhale. And after I've done my inhale, I'll remove my snorkel, I'll turn on my GoPro or my DJI Action, and then I will wait a second before I dive. So before I was always like, as soon as I remove the snorkel, I have to get most out of this dive. Let's go.
Like
but
rough.
Now, but no, I do everything I need to do, and then I do like another, like my shoulders down, and then I dive, and that actually has made a big difference.
Very interesting. Yeah. I was watching a lot of free divers in competitions, and they don't rush after the whistle goes or anything, do they? They're not like they've got to dive within a certain time frame, but they're like taking their time, do a few more little sit breaths, and then it is really, really slow. I think it does make a big difference.
Michael, I don't know if you know, but we recently went diving with a British freediving champion, and he gave us a key piece of advice. The bit I took away from the whole day was just a bit of advice, which I'm going to give you for free, right?
Oh, good.
Relax your arsehole, because if your arsehole's relaxed, everything's relaxed.
Okay. How do you relax your asshole?
Does everyone else remember that?
I was thinking about that whole time. The whole time we were off. I won't say where we were, but the other day, I was thinking about David Mellor, relax your asshole. And you know what? I reckon I added 20 seconds to my dive time.
For real?
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking 2 minutes, so it's all relative.
A tip for you: once you've done your snorkel out and you turned your DJI on, and then you've had your second, just then think about your asshole. And you're going to be a 2.5 minute diver. I didn't even know he said that.
Did you not? Yeah,
No.
you did,
No.
Is there any kind of stretching, anything you need to do before the dive then to be able to do that?
What, to relax your
It's called a black mamba or black member.
Don't get Anthony started.
There are many toys that you can use. Some of them vibrate. But no.
Assholes aside, do you do any stretching or any of that kind of stuff like before you get in the water?
Not when I do spearfishing. No.
Just all about the relaxation.
Yeah. But
so you don't do any sort of dry training? You don't do anything at home while you're on the sofa, bed?
I've done that, yes, and I've tried the Wim Hofs. That's fun. Everybody should try that in their bed, and you will see how long you can actually hold your breath. That's amazing. I think I got like 4.5, 5 minutes
Wow.
doing that, hyperventilating. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But don't do it while spearfishing.
Yeah.
Do it
well said.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Don't forget the tingles, though, man. The tingles feel amazing.
Yeah. It's like you get a high and
natural high. Yeah.
One of the things that you were touching on a second ago was obviously that mindset that you're putting yourself in before you do the dive and the relaxation that comes with it. And more recently, I've been thinking about thinking more to while I was in Tenerife a year and a half ago with the freedivers, doing a freedive course out there with Go Freediving, Emma Farrell. Another shout out for her. She doesn't message me. Cow. But the morning and afternoon before each sort of dive session, they would always have a yoga or a yogic session. And that's one thing that I'm just toying with the idea of trying. I am like as far from, as you probably listened to the podcast, as far from fucking yogic as you could possibly get. But my breath hold, I just can't get it past 1 minute 10. It doesn't matter. I mean, I smoke or drink, so that's probably not helping the situation.
Leave the
Red Bull play there, mate.
Yeah, leave the Red Bull at home before we go diving. All right.
I don't drink much Monster anymore. Thank you. It's now just Jack Daniels. But no, it's yogic and that zen and peace in your mind is the big help, I think.
And actually, I have one thing you should try. So oftentimes when I go spearfishing, I do these dives and I have constantly 1 minute 10 dives or 1 minute 10, that kind of range. And it's not until I force myself to do a 1 minute 30. And so the trick is not necessarily to force yourself to do a 1 minute 30, but you can do this before you dive. And so this also leads to the question before, if I do anything before I dive, I don't stretch, but sometimes I do these tables, U2 tables before. And that actually helps tremendously because you get in your the reflex going, the mammalian dive reflex going, and I've tried where I've been diving about a minute all the time, and then until I do like a longer dive and like really feel it, you feel it in your body because you feel the heat in your head. Like the CO2 does different stuff. It gets warm and a little bit tingly, maybe it does different stuff to you. And once you go past that, the next dive will be easier because your body now comes into a different state. So I have done it when I'm diving, but I can't really recommend people to push themselves spearfishing, but I can recommend doing it before. Or if you are with a buddy and say, hey, can you watch me? I'm gonna push myself a little bit right now. And if you push yourself, say maybe just 110 or 120, a little bit more than you've been doing for this session.
Push the comfort.
The next one will be much nicer.
Yeah. I suppose that also comes with probably, or at least I feel in me, that it's confidence, and again comes back to mentality and the relaxation. Because although I wear my watch, I try not to look at it really anymore at all. It's there just as a thing to look at the end of the day of diving. But with the diving locally, we do a lot of, say, to 10, 11 meters. And I was diving a spot that we'll talk about either in the intro or outro. But that is about 15 to 18 meters ish. And because I've been so regularly diving to 10, 11, once I got to 13, I just felt my body going, this is scary deep. And I'm like, fuck off. I know this wreck and I know I could dive it absolutely easily, but I had to push myself past that point. And then as soon as I pushed myself past it, it was like, this is just walk in the park. But it's that mentality again. It's giving you the confidence to then calm down more and stay less stressed and not overthink things.
Yeah, and it's also, I think you also have some reactions in your body when you go down. I feel like it feels like a contraction, but it's not really a contraction. It's pressure change in your body that you feel a little bit, oh, what was that? And then that might trigger a warning that then goes in a spiral, and you go like, okay, maybe I need to go up.
Yeah, that's what I get.
Am I gonna black out? Like,
yeah,
you can. And again, that's free diving course. I've done some free diving courses, and I'm so glad I did, because then you try diving deeper than you are doing spearfishing, so you know the feeling. And so I can highly recommend that to anybody spearfishing.
Yeah. Awesome.
And
the line thing. Yeah.
We were talking, if we move on a bit, we were talking about Norway earlier. So you've done quite a fair bit of traveling with spearfishing. Are you using Anthony's trick of using a golf bag to transport your gear, or how are we getting all your kit safely?
You can't call that my trick. That's Davo's trick.
Davo's trick, sorry.
Everything I wonder if he did that bloke.
I wonder if he did that for the Worlds. So how are you transporting all your stuff, and is it generally, do you have any issues like getting spear guns to other countries, or have you been relatively all right with it?
I think it's pretty easy, and we use a sport tube. Recently, Daniel Mann put a video out. Take a look at that one where he packs up his sports tube, and that's how he travels with his gear. Stefan got a nice sport tube, so we use that one, and it's pretty simple. You just buy an odd size bag, and we never experienced any issues with that at all. Yeah.
So the only issue I experienced, and this was thanks to EasyJet. So I made a phone call to EasyJet when I booked my baggage and said, look, I'm taking a sports tube or a golf bag over there, but it's got spear guns in it. Is that fine? They said, yeah, that's fine. I said, well, the weight is a little bit close to your sort of 30 kilo max, but I've got dive weights in there. Can I take them on my carry-on? And I said, yeah, absolutely.
Like, you can't.
Yeah, no, but I did on the way out. Absolutely fine. So left from Gatwick, no problems at all with 7 kilos of lead in my bag and my dive belt. On the way back, the Tenerife security, to say I had a falling out with the butchest, biggest security lady, that was probably called Steve. Like, yeah, they were like, no, this is a weapon. You need to go and take it back in. And so luckily then EasyJet like put it on the baggage for free as an extra sports bag. So I got away with it luckily. But with your weights, you just put everything in your sports tube, check it in, and then forget about it.
Yes, definitely. But don't mention spear gun as you just did. That's really important.
Really?
You don't want to, the word gun, you don't want to say that. Yeah. So it's fishing equipment.
You can take firearms on planes.
Yeah, but you don't want to go there.
No,
it's fishing equipment.
They're fishing golf clubs.
Yeah. You've never heard of that?
Yeah. We just play golf with fish. It's fine.
Where's your next destination? Where are you like really excited to go next?
So we are going to New Zealand.
Ooh, wow.
Yes.
That is a trip.
That's going to be a bit different.
Yeah. So February month is almost pitch black here, and you don't want to be in Denmark. You definitely don't want to be in Norway in February. So we actually took all February off, and we're going to rent a camper in New Zealand, and just, we are three guys going there and just going to have the time of our lives. Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's cool.
You going for the full month?
Yeah, full month, all of February.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazing.
So maybe a shout out if anybody in New Zealand wants to meet up or knows anybody with an auto camper that we can rent, or I mean, we'll be there, and of course want to meet other people as well. Yeah.
Was a fellow YouTuber. Have you? I don't know whether is it Craig.
Ollie, yeah.
Ollie Craig.
Yeah.
Get in touch with him because
I'll
that
try,
guy. Yeah. One of his most recent videos, he went out on a really nice boat. I don't know whether he was on a friend's boat or whether he's now got sponsorship because his viewership has gone up dramatically. But that guy's seems really, really nice and bloody good Spearo.
Yeah. Yes, he seems really down to earth, and the stuff he spears and sees. I mean, come on, those kingfish. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's the next one.
The only thing that I want to go and meet him for, and actually I need to drag Ben along, is to show him that there's more than just fish tacos in life.
Me?
No, but Ollie Craig. Literally, doesn't matter what he catches, fish tacos.
Yeah. It's the same with that. It's the same with the YBS Brody.
Yeah, they definitely.
Are you targeting like specific species? Is it kingfish? I had my first kingfish earlier in the year, and it was just amazing.
When did you catch a kingfish?
I didn't catch one. I just ate one.
Oh, you ate one?
which I was frothing on alone. Catching one must be like proper next level stuff.
Yeah, so of course it will be the kingfish, the what's it called, the snapper. Of course.
Yeah.
Now that I've been 3 times in the Med not catching a Dentex, I see the snapper but seeing them every time you go to the Med, you see the Dentex and you don't get a Dentex. But it has a cousin in New Zealand that's a little bit easier to get. That's a snapper. So definitely a snapper and the kingfish. And honestly, I haven't really looked that much more into it. So
what sort of gear are you taking over to New Zealand then?
Well, I have like a 116 Seagull Nemesis double-banded gun. I think I'm just going to take that. Maybe a good
buoy. A 160 or 116?
16, yeah.
116, wow, okay.
It's what I've been using in Norway and in the Med. It's a really good gun. I think maybe like a bigger kingfish, it could be a little bit underpowered.
What size is the spear?
7.5.
Yeah, because that's one of the only things that I know with the bigger pelagics is that you need to make sure that the spear is decent. Because you might shoot one, but you ain't going to shoot anything else after it. The fish just bows the spear, turns it into a boomerang.
What were you shooting in Tenerife? And what was your?
Christ, that was a 140 with a 9mm.
Oh wow!
Oh, really thick.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, the wahoo that I caught was like 14 kilos, but the guy that I was with, his spear gun, I mean, he's caught 60, 70, 80 kilo wahoos on that. Wow. And even then in the videos, you can see this 9mm spear flexing, like properly flexing in the water. Luckily, because it's so thick, it springs back. But he did tell me about how many times he's smashed that spear out with a hammer. So it's straight enough to hit something.
Right enough.
Yeah. It kind of wobbles as it's going towards the fish.
I couldn't do that. You need the confidence in your shot. I mean, I would hate shooting with a spear that had been bent like that.
I don't know if you saw my most recent video. The boys probably did, but I uploaded some old footage from Tenerife in the shot, and the shot in the video, I mean, I'm not going to say that it was a good shot. It was a fucking perfect shot.
It was a good shot. I mean, I don't know. It'd be quite difficult to miss at that range, but it was a good
shot. Waiting for that. In the video, the fish would definitely miss like it touched the spear. It was that close. But in the water, I mean, and then when you look at the size of the fish when you get out of the water, the fish was probably still 3 or 4 meters away.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it was close enough that you just shoot it. It's a fucking huge fish. Only Richard could miss it.
Yeah, definitely. I would.
He could hit a barn door.
But the reason I'm asking really about the gear is because I guess even if you got a gun like that, as long as you're using like the right sort of floats. Are you using breakaways, or are you just tethering straight to the spear gun? Or
I think I'm gonna rig it breakaway. I bought like a high pressure float for Norway because we were going to, the current, and we also needed that for some of the fish we caught. And some of my other buddies also had a breakaway system, so I sort of learned how they do it, and I think I'm gonna rig it breakaway. If it's like the 20 kilo kingfish, I think that might be a good idea.
What do you need for in Norway? Sorry, just to change the subject.
Yeah. So, well, we can talk a bit about the Norway and the current up there. I mean, so at the Saltstraumen, we have salt stream. You know what? It's like Bodø. It's like an area up north. And there's a tide that goes through a shallow, like a fjord or something.
Yeah.
And the current is so strong that the fish grow 4 times as fast there.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
nice.
And the life it's so hard to explain. I think you have to watch some videos from it. It's the very first drop I do, the very first drift, because it's drift diving, because you sort of like, you go, okay, now the tide is changing like twice a day, like direction. Okay, now it's shifting. We'll be there like 45 minutes before, and then it's like still pumping before the change, and then you can just see, the swirls. I don't know what you. It looks intense.
It looks more like a river than it did the ocean.
Yeah.
Turbulence.
Yeah, and I've been in some of those also on that trip, and you are just spinning, and that's. But of course, you don't want to drop in right there, so you go a little bit downstream, and then there's always a guy in the boat, and you drop in, and he drops the other guys a little bit further down, and he just keeps an eye on you, and when you get too close to the currents, or he'll put you back in the boat. And this is my very first drift, and just before I need to get back to the boat, he said, I'm just gonna pick up the other body over here. So I do one short dive, and I dive down, and I grab some kelp and just lay still, and then I see some weird shape. It's not like when you go down, there's like the coalfish are everywhere, and we're talking 2 kilo coalfish just in front of you. Like you could shoot any of them and be perfectly fine. And then this weird formation is coming towards me, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is that? It looks like a log, like some wood or something that's just drifting, and it had like a bulge that was apparently the eyes. So, but it really looked like, I was like, what the fuck? And it came closer, and it's like, a turtle. Is it a sea turtle? Because I couldn't see what it was. And then it got closer, like, it's a halibut. So yeah. But it was swimming directly towards me. So yeah, so you can imagine why it looks weird, because that fish from the front has a weird look to it.
Yeah, weird shape, yeah.
And it wasn't a massive one. We looked at the video afterwards, and one of my buddies who caught a few, he reckons it's about 15-20 kilos. So still, like, I would be over the moon for this fish. I just spoiled that I didn't get it. So, but so it's only when it's close to me I realize what it is, and my head is. I'm so confused at this point, because I just saw it was a turtle in the north of Norway, and so I put up my gun, and now I see it's at the side of me, and I decide to try and shoot it, on the thin side, which is of course a bad mistake. I thought, oh, this is gonna be cool to get it like this, and I shot just below it. I don't know how I did that. I have no idea. I mean, I should just have like let go of the kelp or something, or waited a little bit. It might have, had a top-down shot or just below. I mean,
I was expecting you to say that the current had changed and that large log object was another Spearo, just like the current had changed and was bringing a Spearo over.
No.
But I was watching the other night. What was it? A couple of nights ago. I just had a bit of a binge on Daniel Mann's older videos, sort of like 4 or 5 years ago, and when he was in Norway shooting those halibut. Fucking no wonder. Thank God they had 2 floats. Yes, on those breakaways. Like the way that those halibut took it was like the wahoo took our float.
Yeah,
it just, the power in them. I mean, 80 kilos worth of muscle.
Exactly.
Even 15 kilos would drag you along.
It would. For sure. And we did catch some nice ones, not like 80 kilos, but some really nice ones. I don't remember exactly the size, but I think it was like around 30 kilos or something.
Bloody good fish.
Yeah. And I think the best fish on the entire trip was the only female who was with us. She caught a cod.
Yeah, nice.
A 23 kilo cod.
Whoa. Holy shit.
It was like a dinosaur. What?
Oh my God.
Yeah. 23 kilos.
Hang on. I need to do 23 kilos to
50 something pounds, isn't it?
50 pound. God. Local chip shops going, yes, please. Jesus Christ. That's a big fish.
Yeah. She barely couldn't lift. Of course, we had a good photo session of that fish, and I think she was like, okay, I can't lift this fish anymore.
Need to go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Sorry for that little digression. I was just interested in why you brought the float to Norway. Yeah, epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, as I was going to say, I guess obviously if you got a breakaway system with high pressure floats, then shooting kingfish should be all right with a slightly underpowered gun, I'd suppose. I'm no professional at this by any means, but I'd imagine it should be okay.
Yeah. I'll probably do like a gear check before and make sure I have something that works.
Yeah. I think the other thing that David was saying about with the spear size, and sort of digressing a little bit into physics, is not just also the fact that it will bend the spear, but the mass that the spear has to be able to penetrate straight through the fish. So something like a 75 with a 6.5 mil or a 7 mil spear isn't even going to get halfway through that fish because it just loses all of its energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think you've got to be fine. It's just a case of making sure you're within range. But the spear on that one's probably 130 centimeters long because of the overhang and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long they are.
Yeah, no, it'd be good. I hope you have a wonderful time.
Yeah, thanks.
Very jealous. Have you got any room for a very small person? Me.
Well, luckily Stefan is a very small person. Sorry, Stefan. So we might squeeze both of you in there.
So, and I'm gonna have to apologize in advance for this, only because I'm fucking shit with social media, as everybody is aware. I wasn't aware of you on YouTube and Instagram, but Rich and Ben tell me that you've got a pretty decent following on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and stuff. How did you start all that, or what made you get into that?
Yeah, good question. I think it started off with in the beginning when I figured out how to get sea trout. I was this new bloke nobody heard of in this community, and I thought it was funny to post like a sea trout every now and then. Because and so that was kind of the start. I think I got 7 sea trout in 1 month, which is unheard of in the daytime. So that was kind of like it's and I think initially when I started the spearfishing, I was so amazed that I need to capture this. I just knew immediately I needed to capture this. I didn't know for what. But then that thing with the sea trout and was on my Instagram, and yeah, I was inspired by the other YouTubers, so the sorts of Daniel Mann and Joe PK from UK, and then there's so many great channels, Ryan Myers. You could keep on going. So I thought it would be fun to do like a vlog thing when we went to the West Coast to hunt sea bass. very similar to the way you hunt sea bass in the UK. We have on the west coast, when the wind is blowing eastern, we have the best. That's the best spearfishing in Denmark. It's that. And I did a vlog from that trip, and I had a fun. It was fun doing that, and sort of just started doing it, and people really enjoyed the videos, and that made it even motivated me to keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just like I get better every time, and as long as I enjoyed making these videos, and I'm just gonna keep doing it. It's not. It is for fun in the end. It is also to have conversations and talk with you guys. I mean, you meet a lot of more people when you share your experiences. So I think it's very fruitful, actually.
One thing I've never understood with you lot is how you got the time to do it. I've got a GoPro Hero, whatever it is, 10, 11, 27, whatever they are nowadays. But I'll put it on, record something, get home, I'm shattered, and then 3 months later I go, I still haven't taken that footage off the GoPro. It's just gathering dust in the corner. A 400 quid paperweight.
I know what you mean. I think it sits in my mind a little bit. I do remove the footage and put it in, organize it. So actually, I on the day I don't, but I do organize it. I put like markers on it. Like I tag them, the individual clips that I know. I have like different color codes for that. On a MacBook,
nice.
you can right click and select a color, and put them in folders, and so I do that, and then I leave it. Typically, I leave it. The bonito I couldn't leave. I needed to get that out immediately. But I leave it, and then I think about how I want to tell this story, and then at some point I just feel like a motivation to I want to tell this story about that shipwreck where I didn't catch a Dentex or whatever it is. That wreck dive where we got some nice cut or whatever. And I have an idea about how to tell it, and then the motivation comes, and you will find the time. If you're motivated to do something, you'll find the time. Yeah.
I think you're one of these individuals that recognizes that the new spearfishing content where you're telling a good story behind shooting the fish, and not just the old content where it was just all like shots of shooting fish, and that was
montage.
And it had some sort of like techno music behind it, and wherever else, you know what I mean. You're one of those guys that can actually put a really good story together behind shooting a fish, or not shooting a fish, as it were, anyway. And it comes across like that because it goes through a good story. Your content
engaging.
It's definitely the way to do it, because as you say, it highlights various aspects of our sports rather than just the kill shot. It highlights the fact that sometimes you don't catch anything, or the challenges that we go through. So it's really cool. I like your content a lot. Presumably you're going to be putting out a lot of content from New Zealand as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, definitely. I'm also going to put out from the recent Norway trip, and the Madeira ones. Once I feel the motivation for that one and have idea how to tell that.
What was it? Was it like in Madeira? Really good.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
We didn't catch that much though. I mean, I think the best fish was a red snapper, which is pretty huge, like the Pago. And we caught a lot of different species. Nothing massive, but I also had like a blue water moment, like you were talking about earlier, Anthony, and I think I was laying on the bottom, and we've seen bonitos, quite big bonitos, and then all of a sudden I see two bonitos on top of me, and I reckon, okay, these are good fish, and I line up the shot, and I know, the moment when you have a fish, like it's not a question, I know I have this fish, and I shoot, and it's so clear when the spear comes towards the fish that it's not even close to the fish. Like not even close. It was way further away. And I mean, when we looked back at the footage, we could see it was not like this was a proper tuna. So that also like goes to show that when you go and spearfish in the open Atlantic, you can see everything. You have no idea what's gonna come. We saw sea turtles and big monk seal and all sorts of different species. Caught a lot of different species. But I think it's a step down from the Azores. I think if you want the big package, you go to the Azores.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice,
Richard's favorite place.
Oh man,
you've been there, Richard?
No, not yet.
Desperate to.
I will do.
We need to get someone on from the Azores.
Yeah, you should get David on.
We hopefully we might make that happen. But I've got someone lined up from the Azores, so we'll see what happens. But one day we'll get out there. Whether I'll take you two or not is a different story.
You're horrible, you are. I don't know why we have you on.
So if I came over to Denmark from the UK and I want to go spearfishing, presumably from everything that we discussed already, it sounds very similar. And is there any sort of real challenges I would face going over there? Do you need like spearfishing licenses, or do you need anything of such?
Yeah, you need to buy a license, but you just do that online, and it's about £20. It's like for a year, so you can even buy it per day, and then it's, I don't know, a fifth of that. But that's easy. It's just online. You buy a license, and I think the community is quite good. So find a Facebook group and write that you're here in Denmark, and if anybody wants to go for a dive, I see these posts quite often, and people are engaging, so the community is so strong. So I would definitely suggest to do that. The next thing you'll face is that what you see on the videos, you will be hard to find that. It's not easy to find fish in Denmark. I mean, you will find the place, you will find the flounder, and you'll find 10 of them, and you'll be happy and eat it and froth on that. But if you want the cod, if you want a nice sea bass on the west coast, if you want lobster, the more like priced things, you need to know a little bit more, and you need either need a boat or go a little bit deeper. So just not to get the expectations too high. You will not go to Denmark and just shoot a 10-kilo cod. It's not like that anymore. But if you like flatties, I mean, and if you want to join into the community, you can you'll get some intel, and you will find some good fish for sure.
Are there any unusual species out there that we might not get here? I saw a wolffish on your Instagram. Was that Denmark or?
No, that was from Norway. It was like an 11-kilo wolffish, a huge one.
Amazing.
Outside of the stream, just to there's it's not regulated, but there's a gentleman agreement not to shoot the wolffish inside the stream at Saltstraumen. So for anybody going there, it's the scuba divers, they like to go down and take pictures with them, and it's also the scuba divers who cleans up all the lures from the anglers. So it's a good
support each other. Yeah, that's really nice. There's a little bit of animosity, I think, between certain groups in the UK. I much prefer the model where you will look after each other.
Between the groups, there's enough animosity in fucking spearfishing.
Well, that's true, mate. But you know what I mean? Like, we were talking to I think it was Dan Mann was talking about Australia and how all like the commercial guys and the recreational guys are all pretty supportive of each other, because at the end of the day we want the same fish. And I think in this country, I was reading a story on this WhatsApp group for the Dorset Spearfishing Club, and this guy was saying that some scuba diver basically having a go at him for shooting fish, his fish that he wanted to see. And I just think that we all need to support each other. We want to see the fish too. It's not like we just want to shoot all the fish and leave it this barren place. So I don't know. It upsets me when you see those kind of stories, and it's really nice to hear where there's places where people do look after each other and do support each other, even though we're doing. You're going to shoot this fish, right? That's
What
nice.
are you talking about, man? We're supporting the local wildlife. on that day, I shot bass in a nice bass out of a cave, and the seal had it. So I'm just helping the seals. We're supporting the seal population.
The other thing with the scuba is like once you've shot the fish, I can always I can put it back down there. And you can take a fish like a photo of it sleeping. It's a sleepy fish.
Yeah. Well, the wolffish is sleeping already, so no need for that.
They're such a pretty fish as well, aren't they?
I thought it was sick. I was like, oh fuck! I cannot bring this fish. I mean, I know they're ugly, but not that ugly. I was really
a face only a mother could love.
It was actually quite a mixed experience. I mean,
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice fillet, and but the catching a wolffish is not a sport. It's you see it, and then you have it if you want it. It's like like a flatfish, basically. But the thing is, the fight starts after you shoot it, because those massive teeth, they can really grind. You don't want to get your hands in that.
Yeah.
And then it just looks disgusting when it looks at you, and it's sort of like the mouth is. I thought it looked like it was sick. I was so confused. Like fuck this, and it. I had to bring it up to on a cliff to actually be able to kill it, because it was like biting after me. So yeah,
you had just shot it, so I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's trying to defend itself. But we get like monkfish and anglerfish here. Did you get them over in Denmark?
I've seen one.
Yeah,
but they're so rare. I would love to, because they taste amazing.
Yeah, I've never seen one here, but they're another fish that sort of similar to what you're saying. Once you see it, like you know that you can shoot it. It's not going anywhere. But like you say, I'm sure the fight starts when you shot it, because it's like that is a scary mouth that you don't want grabbing onto your leg or arm while you're fighting it.
Definitely not.
There's a video going around. I don't know how old it was, but of some Russian scuba divers. I think they were Russian, but and somehow this anglerfish or monkfish had grabbed his hand, and obviously they've got the that second set of teeth in the back of their neck,
like a grinder.
Yeah, or I can't. There's something jaw. I can't remember what it's called. Ben, you'll probably find it in the next 5 seconds. But
well, I can tell you the Norwegian name is stone biter.
Right.
So they have they can grind stones with these. Yeah.
Well, it's got like those backward facing teeth. So once it's got hold of you, it's not letting go, even if the fish is dead. It's got like lockjaw, similar to dogs. There's this video of these other 3 scuba divers trying to cut this fish up without stabbing this guy's hand to try and get his hand out of this massive monkfish. It's like, I don't know if I want to shoot one.
Oh fuck! Oh, it's a monkfish. That's not what I talked about. Yeah. A good tip for the monkfish I've heard is that you kind of have to sew it. Right, if you shoot it, make sure you have the spear through and then the flopper engaged. And so it's kind of like sewn in, and then you can like put your hand on the top, and then it's like a nice closed bag.
Yeah. That's how I actually. I don't know why I've got a little bit of a fear about it, but that's how I deal with cuttlefish, because I've always had this thing where I just got a feeling like its beak is gonna grab part of my arm. So I'll shoot it, take it further down to the deck, make sure I push the spear all the way through, engage flopper, and then like hold it 2 meters away from me, going, please don't bite me. Please don't bite me. But no, cool. Have you got any cool stories from Denmark? Anything funny?
I'd say actually from the recent trip, so I gotta admit, I've been fucking so scared of seals and dolphins. I don't know why. Yes, I have no idea why.
Seals are scary. I'm not so sure about dolphins.
Well, dude, check up on YouTube horny dolphins, and then you'll be scared of them too.
Yes, that's true.
That sounds like a reason to get in. Relax your asshole.
So you have to,
Mr. Dolphin.
and right, you were there. Have to dive. You have to relax the asshole before, right?
Yeah, don't tighten the asshole, otherwise Dolphin's going to force his way in. Why have we got phobia of fear of dolphins and seals?
I think so. I would love to swim with dolphins in clear water. So it's more you lay on the bottom and you maybe grunt a little bit, try to attract something, and I just have a fear of it sneaking up on me. I think that's it. It's a scare. It's the jump scare of something big just enters. And so when I have to go spearfishing on the west coast for sea bass and mullet, I have to drive like 2 hours. So I drive to this day. I drive to the west coast. I find a nice pier. We have several piers all the way down. I go to the biggest one called Pier 72. It's a really nice spot. It's very well known. You can find lobster and you can find all kinds of pelagic fish there. And then just before entering, I see 2-3 dolphins jumping out of the water 50 meters away from where I'm about to dive. And at the same time, this wasn't the perfect day because the waves were just hamming on, and I could barely see anything. But I've been driving these 2 hours, and I'm definitely gonna get in, because if you have a shotgun, you can just dive down, maybe look into the stones in the pier, and the mussels will clear up, and you might get a bass in there. You can look up and shoot the shadows of the fish. So I always enter the water regardless. But these dolphins, which was a beautiful sight before, I enter the water, and immediately I'm just like, fuck, these dolphins are right there. And it's so, I don't know why. I mean, they would never do anything. But when I was diving down and laying there, I didn't even want to grunt. Like, don't.
Please let there be no fish. Please let there be no fish.
I just couldn't. I was like, and I think I was in the water for 20 minutes. I mean, so I actually, this is really embarrassing. I went out of the water because of fucking dolphins.
Because of fucking dolphins? Or
no, because of yeah.
Michael, I got some bad news for you, man.
Yeah.
In New Zealand, they have seals with big ass teeth that don't look like seals at all. They look like fucking sharks. And if you grunt, they're gonna sneak up on you too.
Yeah, I know. And they got the sharks as well. They got sharks. Got a bunch of sharks as well, right?
Yeah.
Actually, if you see the seals, then you know you're fucked, because the sharks are after them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I have a little bit more to the story, because actually on the bonito hunt, the first day was when I was in for 7 hours on the late night, when I went in, I did one of the dives, and then I see a big shadow entering, and I was first pointing my gun like, okay, is this the bonitos? What? So like big and black. What is this? And then this seal just pops in right in front of me, and so curious. First, it's like takes its snout directly on the tip of my spear, and then just looks at my face. And I got the jump scare for that, yes.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, after that, it was just, this cute underwater dog just looking at me, and it was there for like 20 seconds. And it was really a nice experience. And when I went up from that dive, I was like, it's fine. I was actually happy to have that experience with the seal. And later on that day, the very last dive, while I was doing my speto, I could feel something next to me, and I looked, and the seal had its snout, or its face, at me, at my body, at my lower body. So when I looked at it, it got scared and looked up like, who are you? So I really got up personal with a seal lately, and I think that cured it a little bit. So
it
I
does
think
tend
I'm
to be
prepared.
that. Yeah,
it depends how big they are, doesn't it? Like the smaller ones,
yeah.
they're well cute, and they tend to be more playful. The big ones when they start grunting at you.
Yeah, feisty.
Yeah.
That one that stole my bass the other day. He bit someone who was swimming around Portland Bill, and so yeah, I wouldn't let a seal anywhere near your nether regions in the future.
There's a couple of stories about seals over here, like Sam.
Yeah, but actually, what actually scared me the most of your videos, Michael, was your recent one where that lure was above you, the fisherman's lure.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh Jesus, like if this snags on him, this is this isn't going to be good.
No.
That was crazy. What was he in a boat or something? Was he?
No,
or was he fishing from the shore?
Yeah, because he heard the Bonito rumors,
so he was fishing from the shore.
And that was like a pier, and he stood on the pier, but I was at the other side of the pier where he couldn't be, but he could throw there.
So he was casting towards where he saw a Spearo.
Yes.
The fuck.
That lure was.
That's fight talk.
That lure literally was right, like it was so close to you. It was unreal.
And sometimes I put a camera on my gun and I point it towards me to have a different perspective on the dive.
Yeah.
And I had that on there, and it was only when I watched some of the footage. Normally, I just take a few of those clips just to have a little bit some other angles, and then I could just see. I didn't know it, of course, when I was diving.
Yeah.
This lure right behind my neck, almost snatching my my mask.
That would not be nice.
See, if I knew that was happening, I'd be fucking livid. And yeah, as I said a second ago, that'd be fight talk. But I'd probably just get something and like use a hook to grab his line and then start fucking swimming away and be like, yeah, you caught a big fucking bonito now, boy.
It'd be so tempting. It'd be so tempting to grab the lure and like snag him like on the bit of kelp or something.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I've lost 15 lures today.
But we all know that there is unfortunately a little bit of hate for Spearos from anglers, at least in Denmark. In not in everybody, but there are some bad talk. So whatever I can do to not participate in heating up that, I'll do that. I mean,
it's a sensible choice.
So yeah, and to be honest, I was there after the fisherman was there, but there was space enough for everybody to be there. But I knew there were fishermen close by, so. But yeah.
We had one on our. We had a really good dive out a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, on a Saturday. Absolutely, like the last best day of this year so far. And there was me, Ben, Rich, Taj, my other half, Taj's other half, Chloe, and Damon. So there was loads of us out. We took 2 boats. Awesome day, and we went to the first location together. And then Rich and Ben's boat decided to, go elsewhere. And then me and Taj went over to a spot that we go to close to Teignmouth. And when we get there, there's 2 boats, normal rod and line fishermen already anchored up and fishing. And we sort of went over and, as you do, ask them, any fish about? How's it going? No, there's nothing. All we're getting is these fucking congers taking our lures and taking our bait, blah, 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 blah. And so anyway, we're like, right, well, we're going to get in. You don't mind if we get in? No, that's fine. There's no fish here anyway. So anyway, me and Taj dive down. First 2 dives, we both come up with £5 plus pollock.
No.
So £2 pollock. And because I am who I am, I shout over and said, I thought you said there was no fish here. There's loads of fish down there. You're fishing badly. And his face... he didn't take it as the joke I intended it to be. He got fucking livid, pulled his anchor up, and fucked off. And it was like, oh, oops. I've upset him. But it's the thing that I always say is I think rod liners don't like Spearos because one, it's like they think that we're scaring the fish away.
Yeah.
But spearfishing, I feel, it takes more skill to do, but it's easier to catch fish because you don't need the fish to be hungry. You've only got to see them. So it's a bit of a swings and roundabouts, but we're all in the same boat or the same water. And like Rich was saying earlier on, in the UK, there just seems to be this animosity between the groups, commercial one-liners, spearfishers, but we're all sharing the same water, for fuck's sake. No one owns it.
There's more similarities between us than differences.
Yeah. And I mean, Spearos, we're like we all harp on about. We are extremely selective, and can be extremely selective.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all doing it not just for the sport. We're doing it for that food factor as well, which is good. But
yeah,
hopefully the UK gets better.
I think also a part of a lot of controversy you see is when you don't understand the other people or what it is they're actually doing. You don't understand them, their motives and all of that. So actually, because as Rich also talked about, I try to explain the entire story, what I do, and you see the process. I take care of the fish. You see me tasting, we eat the fish and all of that. Quite a few rod fishermen has been writing me saying that actually they changed their mind on spearfishing because I never thought it was like that.
Oh, that's amazing.
I want to try this.
That's really nice.
Yeah, and that's actually the comment that makes me one of them that makes me the most happy is when I get that. I usually get one or two on my videos, and it's I think that's great to have a better understanding of what it is we're actually doing, that we're not just vicious killers needing a fix, right? I mean, part of that is true. We do get a fix of shooting a fish, but you also do that in a lot of different activities that is quite normal and healthy for you.
The only thing that I would ask, because I haven't watched your videos, you don't use any of the phrases that go along the lines of, this is a good fish for the table.
I don't think I've never said that, but I know exactly what you mean.
It's one of those hippie fucking sayings that really winds me up. It's like, you don't have to say that.
Actually, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's not. That's not what it's about, Anthony.
No?
What that what a fish for the table means is because you shot a fish that's too small. It's embarrassing. and that's an excuse because it's great for the table.
I've never looked at it like that.
That's how it is.
Thank you. I think you've changed my mindset. But in answer to Ben, I think it's because it's to me, it just feels like it's giving an excuse to the people that have got like bad things to say about spearfishing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm definitely doing it for the table. And it's like, fuck off. You're doing it because you want to eat the food. And
I'm being sustainable.
Sustainable is one of those words that has got so much context behind it. So I've now swapped, and I've learned that from being chairman, to selective, because it's got slight different connotations. Nothing sustainable if you're killing stuff.
Selective is the best word to use.
Yeah.
But one piece of advice. I know this is not the hippie Spearo club. And it's all good. But
what makes you think that?
Whenever you do a freediving course, say you go some remote island and you join this freediving community, when think about how you explain that you kill the little fishies. So that's where you just put on a poncho or whatever, and you be a little bit more Spearo hippie. That's the only place where you have to be a little bit more on that side of things.
So I did it completely wrong when I went on my Spearo course.
Of course.
So I don't know whether you heard the podcast of my freediving experience, as I was saying earlier on in Tenerife. I heard that. Yeah, so the turtle trip the day before we went to the supermarket, got the fish and took the fish out. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't be on freediving courses or allowed out in public.
But was it because they said we don't want you to shoot any fish? Or
no, it's because so the first day we went out and did the freediving on the line, and then we had a bit of a freedive swim along the coast and saw a load of cuttlefish. And my immediate reaction is, well, I haven't got a gun, but I'm definitely going to go and poke it. Like it's sat there, it's being all peaceful, and like I need to poke it because I'm a boy. And immediately they were all like, no, we do not touch the local environment. leave the fish alone. And he was like, well, why? I want to fucking poke it. I'm inquisitive. And so then I realized that they were all really, really nice people, and that they would take the joke, but also be like internally offended by it.
Oh, you're wrong.
So it was funny. But no, you with the freediving courses, as we were saying earlier on, like yogic side is just so powerful.
It is,
you can learn a lot from them.
It's good to tap into it and be a hippie occasionally. I think it's really good for you, and it, as you say, it is powerful. And if you can bring that into the spearfishing, that's a superpower. That's how you.
My last question for you, Michael, is that background that you got there. Is that your normal background, or was that just for us?
Oh, that's my living room. Yeah.
That's how it's normally set.
Yeah,
This is the coolest dude ever. He takes a spear gun off the wall, so the listeners obviously can't see him. But he's got a spear gun hanging out, and he's got a guitar hanging up right next to it. So he literally goes and shoots fish, comes back and plays some epic tunes.
To the dead fish.
Exactly. Well, I found out that guitar hanger is perfect for spear guns.
Nice.
And I've seen guys do weird hacks to hang up their spear guns and 3D prints by a guitar hanger. It's perfect.
Nice.
To get so, although I think with this one, because we've all got cameras and they're all really good quality, I think we'll probably upload this one to YouTube for our first ever live actual podcast. But when you first came on, the first thing that jumped in my head is like, shit, we've got someone from Good Charlotte on. He's got big fringe, the guitar in the background, like some retro Apple. You look so the part, buddy.
So when he gets his friends round, he's like, yeah, the fish are eating. I use that spear gun. I shot it with that spear gun. Now listen to me play some epic tunes.
And now here's some Green Day.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Yeah, it's awesome. Cheers for coming on the podcast, Michael. Really appreciate it. And we'll have to just keep us updated on your New Zealand trip, and we'll try and hook up in the future, man.
Yeah, I've enjoyed every bit of this, and I've listened always to a podcast, so it's an honor for me. Keep up the good work. I think it's amazing you do this.
I think there's another location in the world that we're going to have to start booking trips to. We've got a long list of places we need to go, and Denmark definitely. I think we can probably do Denmark, then on the way up to Norway.
You can. Yeah.
Nah,
let me know. I'll
100%.
So great spearfishing
for other people, and especially for me. How can people find you on socials? What's your YouTube, Instagram, Facebook? Shout them all out.
Yeah, so my YouTube is Michael Engel. So it's like Engel is like angel, but with an E. And then my Instagram is just Mic, MIC_Engel.
Awesome,
man.
Yeah.
I'm going to do some research in anticipation for our Denmark trip.
Do that. And I think you'll find the West Coast to be similar to your waters. And that's a great place to start, I think, the West Coast.
Amazing.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Cheers, Michael.
Keep up the good work.
Dude.
Have a good trip in February.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
And I hope you get to do your Norway trip soon. I really hope.
So do we.
Crossed. Yeah.
I think we're going to plan it for next year.
Yeah.
I think we're going to do 8 days as a minimum. A day traveling, 6 days there, 5 days maybe, and then a day traveling back. So maybe a full week.
Let me know if you need some tips on how to plan and stuff and places to go.
That'd be amazing.
Thank you.
Good. Cheers, Michael.
Cheers.
Bloody hell, that was a good episode, man. I really enjoyed that.
Awesome. Yeah, you know, I've only recently discovered him on Instagram and YouTube, and I haven't had a chance to watch his videos all the way through, but they look epic.
I didn't know about him before now, but he seems like a really nice guy.
I've been watching his content for a while, and I really, really enjoy it. Like, and you know, it's you get what I mean by what I'm trying to say. Like, it's just a different way of portraying it, and it's so good. It's so good.
I love it.
Really makes you want to go spearfishing.
It does, doesn't it? and travel spearfishing as well.
That's the only problem watching those fucking videos.
We've all got, responsibilities back home, and it's difficult sometimes to go on those epic trips. But imagine like going to New Zealand for a whole month. Jeez.
Yeah, man. Crazy. Yeah.
That's the dream.
Couldn't get away with that one, I don't think. But,
Spearing bonitos as well in your backyard. That's just brilliant.
Well, if I win the lottery,
awesome.
I promise I'll
pay
for us all to go for a trip for a month.
I don't believe anything you say. You still owe me 100 quid.
Yeah.
There was no handshake at all. And also, Rachel owes you 100 quid.
No, yeah, it was a really good episode, and yeah, that's cool, man.
Denmark sounds awesome. Really cool guy, and like to have a 2-minute breath hold after like only 3 years. I feel like we're a bit behind the curve here, aren't we?
Yeah. he's doing some epic diving, man. 25 years. Yeah,
pretty impressive stuff. And yeah.
I think what we were talking about with the yogic thing, I'm going to take quite a bit from, actually. I think next year I'm going to look into that a little bit more, and in that
I don't know if I could sit through a proper like yoga class. I'm not someone who can sit still. I like the whole relaxation thing. I can, relax your ass and all that kind of stuff. I can get on board with it, but like sitting through an hour of kumbayas just.
No, I think with yoga, it's more actually about not just it's the mental state, but also the stretches they do, which was one of the things that I didn't mention during the podcast. Was it's like the diaphragm stretches and the rib cage stretches and getting your body relaxed as well as your mind.
I did go to that. I'll mention her again. Should we? Emma Farrell. She did that.
Yeah, with me and you
breathing workshop. Yeah, and actually,
I'm going to message Emma. She's coming on over the winter. Like the amount of times we shout her out.
I think it's only fair. But yeah, I attended a breathing workshop. You did as well, Rich, didn't you? And I quite enjoyed the stretches. And I've also been watching some of what's the guy from Australia that works in Adreno? Oh God, I hate it when this happens. Hang on, what am I going to search for?
Please hold, listeners. We're going to put some elevator music in.
Adreno, spearfishing, breathing workshop, maybe.
Bruce is probably a good guess.
It's not Bruce. Oh, I don't know.
Baz.
Oh, there it is. Wayne Judge. That's who it is.
There we go.
He's got a couple of like breathing workshops that he's put online a couple of years ago, and it's pretty like basic presentation stuff like that, but like really really good content. He talks about the 3-part breathing. He talks about like stretching your diaphragm and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I haven't kind of like gone through the whole like learning cycle recently because I've been diving when we can, right? So some winter homework to do, and hopefully our dive times won't take a dive in the winter break.
Nice. Yeah.
Hopefully. That's what we got coming up. We got the Talon Bay competition.
If it's on, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it's not on, the Budley that won't be held at Budley competition will be on somewhere.
I can't see Budley being fishable.
Not for the next 3 months.
No, right.
The rain we had last week, Dawlish, our local town, the water that was coming out of there was thicker than chocolate milk. It was awful. Gross. But and then 14th is going to be again either 14th of October, either Talland or the other competition. And then we've got the BSA end of year event and the AGM on the 21st of October, of which, for anybody that's listening, if you want a BSA member, you can become a BSA member. And I think you can probably get a ticket. There's 10 seats left. So, yeah, they're selling out fast. But it's going to be an awesome little evening.
Nice.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Sounds like a great excuse to get pissed and talk spearfishing.
Our wives are going to be so bored.
Nah, they'll have each other. They'll be fine.
We'll have to get a non-spearfishing crash corner.
For the wives.
Yeah. Just put like 10 bottles of Prosecco in a corner.
They'll be all right.
And snacky snacks.
I'm certainly not going to make them attend the AGM part of the evening.
Are they turning up later, are
they? I think that's probably a good idea.
So you got anyone lined up, Rich? In
future guests, I've got a couple of people I'm talking to, but nothing confirmed yet, so we won't releasing spoilers yet.
Nice.
But
well, if any of you listeners,
and we're still doing it.
If any of you listeners are spearfishers and want to come on and have a chat with us, tell everybody your story, then please get in touch, message us. We're absolutely happy to have you on and talk about all things. Well, most of the time spearfishing related, sometimes not. So yeah, just ping us a message and we'll arrange that.
Catch you on the next one, and hopefully we get a window where we can get out.
Fingers crossed. To it. Maybe see you at Talent.
Catch you on the next one, man.
Cheers, guys.
Evening, boys.
Bye.